And as you can see, we are here with the NFL 2023 mock draft. A couple of things that I want to say before I start this video. I'm not going to make the video too long because I know everybody wants to see who their team is going to pick. A lot of times watching mock drafts, it's too long. We can't see who our team has to get, so we end up skipping. I'm not going to make one of those videos. I'm going to make sure everybody can see who their team is going to get. And we're going to look at some of the free agent trackers. We're going to look at some statistics just to focus in and hone in on who your team should get. But let's get it started. The first pick, I don't even think it's too much talking. Davis Mills is not the guy in Houston. If I'm the Houston Texans, I have to take Bryce Young. I believe he can be a starting quarterback for the next 10 years or more. We just have to build around him. We know he's a playmaker. We just have to protect Bryce Young. Chicago Bears. Defensively, I don't like the Chicago Bears. Let me look at their free agent tracker to see, who are their guys that are leaving. Yeah, so they're last in sacks. So Will Anderson Jr., we know what he is, a relentless, dominant pass rusher, a great arsenal of moves. He does it all. He's the best, he's the most valuable player who isn't a quarterback in this draft. The Chicago Bears end up getting him at 2, starting something special with that defense. Going to the Seattle Seahawks. I see CJ Stroud on the board, but I know they can't stop the run. I like those young corners they got there. I like their offensive weapons. I like their young offensive line. They just drafted a tackle last year. So I believe this is the guy, Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter is a very dominant inside presence. He's quick. He's explosive. He's everything. He's everything you want to see in a defensive tackle. And I believe he's one of those defensive tackles that we're going to see put up sack numbers. He's not just a run stopper. Although he can stop the run with his block shedding, he's going to put up sack numbers. I believe at his peak, we can see maybe a double-digit sack season out of Jalen Carter. Going to number 4, the Arizona Cardinals. Now see this could ultimately be a tricky one. But let me look at this. Let me look at the statistics in the free agent tracker, just to check on some things. Because I know I like their weapons. Byron Murphy is a guy who's gonna have to get paid. Definitely have to pay Byron Murphy. I'm thinking DB here, but let me look at their pass defense. See, this is pretty high for DB, and ultimately, I would add to that offensive line. And a guy with a nasty streak, a mean streak, who can set a tone and a personality in that room, Paris Johnson Jr. Yeah, right here we see that he's the 9th ranked player, but offensive linemen have a different value. There might be more talented football players, but when you're an offensive lineman, you're one of the most valuable positions. It's kind of like a quarterback. There might be a football player who's better than you, but you're the quarterback, so that makes it something. Going to the Lions. And I see this is a team that Jalen Carter would be a match made in heaven. But I ultimately believe I like what they're doing on that edge. I think Detroit
fans, you might be happy with this one. Let me look at your free agent tracker to see who the guys you have coming up. But ultimately,
okay, so see, looking at this, you get the guy. You got Jeff Okudah, and now you got Kelly Ringo. 2 booking corners. Kelly Ringo, a guy who can play man, who could play zone, a physical guy. You look at him, you might think he's a running back. He's stoutly built, and that's something that they can use, especially with Jeff Okudah, Aiden Hutchinson, James Houston, starting to build that defense. We know what that offense is. I love that offense. Going to the Colts. CJ Stroud is your guy. You just have to move on from Matt Ryan. If Matt Ryan doesn't retire, he has to go. It just has to be something different, a new personality. I don't know what the situation will be with Jeff Saturday, but I know the quarterback position is something that the Colts need. Matt Ryan, he's getting old. You have to be thinking long term. Number 7, the Atlanta Falcons. This is an interesting team. I believe one of those teams that needs, I believe they need a lot. And one thing that I do know for sure There's a guy still on the board. Let me look at their free agent tracker just to make sure of everything. Lorenzo Carter, a nice guy. I believe they'll sign him. Yeah, Atlanta. This is a guy who's going to give you some pass rush. Great against the run. This is just a great football player. If you go and watch his highlights, you can go and watch all of these guys' highlights. But if you watch the film, you watch the plays, he's a big guy. He doesn't have the ultra arm. He doesn't have the ultra long length as far as arm length that you usually see with pass rushers. But he has great pass rush moves. He can stop the run. And I see him fitting into more of that. He's a versatile defensive end. I believe he can be a 4-3 defensive end or in a 3-4 defensive end. There's times that you can line him up as the rush outside linebacker. That's why I believe he brings the versatility and he'll be a good addition to that team. Going over to the Carolina Panthers. Now, see, this is a tricky situation because I believe the quarterback market, I like the defense. I really like that defense. But offensively, they just got to get it going. They got Chuba Hubbard, Deontay Foreman. Let me look at their free agent trackers, see which guys wouldn't make sense to sign. Yeah, so you know your Deontay Foreman, that might be a guy who leaves. You got DJ Moore. And honestly, do you really want to move on with Matt Corral, PJ Walker? I'm not too sure of that. But also in this situation, I believe a guy that I'm high on that a lot of people are not high on is quarterback Will Levis. And I believe the problem in Kentucky is that he's playing a lot of these teams, he's outmatched. But when I look at a quarterback, I look at his arm strength. I believe he can be accurate. There are things that he can clean up in his game, but that's why we have these NFL level coaches. I believe he gets in an NFL system with one of these coaches, whoever is the new Carolina Panthers head coach for next season. They get a quarterback coach. They get some guys on that staff. I believe Will Levis can end up being one of the best quarterbacks coming out of this class. I've seen his highs and I've seen his lows. But like I said, we have to look at the potential with these guys. I can see Will Levis in the right system being a 10-year starter. Going to the Philadelphia Eagles. There's some linebackers there. But I believe they're pretty solid. At linebacker. They got TJ Edwards, Kaiser White. Let me check the free agent tracker. Fletcher Cox, Robert Quinn, Brandon Graham, Hargrave. See, some of these guys are going to get paid. Now looking, I think their defensive line or their secondary. That's what I would go with this pick. But I believe they're pretty solid at linebacker. Actually, I would take Brian Brzee right here. Because I know they like to run those nickel packages with those two. They like to run 4-2-5. And a lot of times we see two linebackers, two interior guys, and then those edge rushers. I think Brian Brzee is a guy who can help Jordan Davis, replace some of the Javon Hargrave, replace some of the Fletcher Cox. And Brian Brzee, the thing about him, he adds a pass rushing instinct to his game. He's not just a run stopper. So I believe that's the move that you will see shoring up the interior, because the only thing with the Eagles defense right now is stopping the run. Going to the Green Bay Packers. Yeah, so I think defensively, I know they attacked receiver in the past draft. They got Romeo Doubs. They got Christian Watson. And, offensive line can be a possibility. I like their corners. Do they have any corners due? I know, I like Rasul Douglas, Jair. So I believe that's solid. Yeah, right here, I would go with Trenton Simpson. I know they have Devondre Campbell. And see, the thing about Trent Simpson, a very, very versatile linebacker. He can offer you blitzing. He can offer you coverage. He can offer you run defense. Noah Sewell is a good linebacker, but I believe he's more of a traditional inside linebacker. I don't think he offers the same versatility like we see with the Trenton Simpson, and that's just something I see on the upside. Going to the Raiders. The Raiders. This is a football team, a very interesting football team. Let me look at their free agent tracker. Who I really think I think they have talent. They just underperformed this season. Oh, this is the Rams. God knows we don't want to look at this team. Where is Las Vegas right here.
Cleaning Farrell's up. Honestly, I'm not even spend too much time. I know what the Raiders
need. And see, the thing about the Raiders is though, their run defense as well. I like Chandler Jones. I think they're solid on the edge. Trenton Simpson would have been a good guy for this team too, but I know Joey Porter is a guy who we're seeing being rated higher than Cam Smith, but Cam Smith is just one of those dogs. And I believe we're going to see him as we go into the draft process, as we go into the draft workouts, 40s, position drills. Cam Smith is going to rise. Footwork, attitude, ability. That's what you need in a corner. And Joey Porter, the thing about Joey Porter, he's long. He's a longer corner. That can be good and benefit you in coverage. But I believe Cam Smith is just a dog. He's a dog and he covers guys. He doesn't get beat often. And that's what you need on this Raiders defense. You need to bring in an attitude. So that's what I think he's going to do. This is my second rated corner in the draft. Going to the Jaguars. Looking at the guys left. This might be a move that just shakes up everything, honestly. And I think it's all about helping Trevor Lawrence. It really is. And one of the best players, I haven't gotten him off my board yet, but he's still one of the best players.
As we can see, Marvin Jones, a guy who's going to be testing that free agent market. I don't think every time he's getting up in age.
And once you add Kristen Kirk, Zay Jones, Quentin Johnson, Travis Etienne, that's getting into that Super Bowl offense. This is a team we're potentially seeing make a playoff push right now. But once we add those guys, I believe that just makes this team extremely dominant. Defensively, I think they're getting there. And yeah. And one thing I do want to point out is we saw, just like the Bengals, guys said the Bengals, we need defense. But when they added Jamar Chase, we seen a Super Bowl berth. So that's what I think. Sometimes you have to bolster up one of your specialties rather than attacking a need that's not going to make as much of an impact as bolstering your specialty will. I think Quentin Johnson is a game changer. Straight out of the gate, he's a number one receiver. Can run the route tree. 6'5", twitchy, everything. Watching Quentin Johnson's tape, you might think you're watching Calvin Johnson. So that's the type of guy you getting. And now we have the Houston Texans doubling back. We got Bryce Young. We need some more talent. I like what I saw out of Derek Stingley this year. Like I said, I like those offensive weapons. I like Dameon Pierce. And right here, you couldn't get Will Anderson because you needed Bryce Young. So I think you double back, and right here you end up getting Tyree Wilson. A long pass. See, Tyree Wilson is one of those guys that I think has potential out of the roof. Long arms, quick, twitchy, stop the run. He can grow as a pass rusher, but like I said, that's what these coaches are for. And I believe he comes in right away. He does that, and he makes this team better. Going to number 14. The second offensive lineman that we're going to see coming off of the board. Kenny Pickett is the future of this team. And I see Joey Porter. I see Christian Gonzalez. I see Noah Sewell. But sometimes, like I said, offensive linemen, quarterbacks, this is typically where we see Better players not get drafted because of the positional value. Offensive lineman is an extremely high positional value, and I believe Peter Skoronski is a guy that the Steelers can use. Going to the Seahawks, another team that we see doubling back. And like I said, it's all about stopping the run. So let me look at let me go back.
To their free agent tracker. Going forward, Geno Smith, he's going to get a contract from those guys. I like their weapons offensively. Jamal Adams is going to be coming back. So I think we attack the defensive line, and I think we're just going to double back with defense.
We're going to add a traditional thumping linebacker who can run, Noah Sewell. That's what we're going to add to this team. Just a solid linebacker. And that's what this team is missing right now. The identity to stop the run. I like those young defensive backs, Kobe Bryant, Tariq Woolen, Michael Jackson. I like that. So now that we got Jalen Carter and Noah Sewell, we're looking at dogs on all three levels. Going to the Patriots. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with this team. I think what they're missing is a number one receiver. I seen Jordan Addison look exceptional with Caleb Williams. I don't think there's too much time I need to spend on this pick. I'm going to take him. Mac Jones needs a guy. We see the run game's dominant. One thing we've always seen with the Patriots is a dominant run game. We have to get Mac Jones a number one receiver to see what he can really be. Going into the Jets. Another solid team. And I believe they have a lot of talent. This is a team I'm going to go to their free agent tracker. See what guys are leaving, might not get paid.
Yeah, and I'm looking at that offensive line. I like their corners.
I like their defensive line. And I think right here, I'm going to take the best guy that I think is left that can fit this team, and that's Brian Branch. Like I said, I like that secondary. I like CJ Mosley. I like Quinnen Williams. I like that team. So I believe they're solid on the edges. Add Brian Branch. This is a physical safety that we're getting. And I believe he can cover as well. We see the new age tight ends who are basically big receivers. And he can be matched up with some of those tight ends like a Kittle, like a Kelsey. That's the type of guy, that versatility, physicality we're bringing at the New York Jets. Going to the Detroit Lions. We already attacked the opposite corner position. So right here, I think, I like their receivers, DJ Chark. But DJ Chark, okay, see, this is interesting. This is why that free agent tracker is becoming interesting. Because DJ Chark is another guy who's an important receiver right now. And I believe he's going to command a lot on the open market. I'm going to bolster up the edge. I'm going to get a guy, Isaiah Foskey, nice defensive end. Might be a bit high for him, but I believe Aiden Hutchinson, James Houston, Okwara, if that's a guy that you find yourself, not moving on from, I think Foskey can add to that pass rush, add to this team, because we know next season I see Aiden Hutchinson drawing a lot of double teams. Going into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I don't believe it's too much of a question mark of what should happen right here. See, this is interesting because
We got Leonard Fournette. Let me check the free agent tracker.
Actually, no. I'm going to bolster up the offensive line because that offensive line has not been good. And they might attack the offensive line in free agency, but I believe drafting Broderick Jones is a guy with Tristan Wirfs, Broderick Jones. You got some solid guys. Ryan Jensen, he's going to be healthy next season. Now you have a solid offensive line to protect Brady. Now you're looking good. Going to the Tennessee Titans. This is an interesting team. Let me look at some of the statistics for the Titans. See, it's been interesting because the Titans, they started off the season good, but as of late, they just haven't been the same. And I like that team.
I like their defensive line. So,
I'm going to go with the solid corner and Joey Porter. Comes off the board right here. Like I said, you can go and watch these guys film, but I believe Joey Porter is one of those guys, long corner, can play man, can play zone, but I believe I want to see him more in a man press situation. Just get him manned up, let him cover a guy. That's what this team needs. He's going to add to that defense. Like I said, the pass rush, Harold Landry, those guys. I believe Harold Landry is currently injured right now, but when he comes back, Jeffrey Simmons, that'd be a team to be reckoned with. See, okay, let me look at their free agent tracker because I don't know how you feel about Taylor Heineke. Tyler Heineke, I don't know how you feel about him. And depending on this, he's up for a payday seat. And then his backup, Carson Wentz, Sam Howell. And interestingly, I think that I'm going to take Michael Mayer. Going to the Los Angeles Chargers. I want to see what the situation is with Austin Eckler.
Okay. Nice coming in.
This is a team that I actually think I can see my guy coming off the board. This may be seen as a bit of a slight reach, but Gervon Dexter is a guy that I think has tremendous potential. We look at Brian Brzee, we look at Jalen Carter. I don't think that Gervon Dexter is any less talented than those guys. An All-American coming out of high school, performed at Florida. I think he has a very high upside. And what the Chargers could use is help on that interior. You got Bosa, you got Mack, you got Kenneth Murray. And then you got J.C. Jackson. He's going to be coming back. Darren James. I believe Gervon Dexter is a guy who could really help this team. Going to the New York Giants, I'm not even going to cut it short. They need weapons. They need weapons, and they need them bad. Jackson Smith and Jigba, I believe he can develop into a number one receiver if he's not already that coming out of college. We seen him light it up with CJ Stroud last year in the Rose Bowl, but he's still that guy. Route runner, tremendous explosive guy. And yeah, they have it. Going to the Baltimore Ravens. Now see there's a lot of ways you can actually, want to take this. Their defense has been playing better as of late. But I think you just add another corner in that room. And this is a guy, a ball hawk. When I think of Christian Gonzalez, I think of a ball hawk. Plays in phase a lot. Makes plays on the ball. Can play zone. Can play man. Just a scrappy corner. And let's look at their free agent situation. Regardless of the free agent situation, I think this is a solid pickup for this team. Marcus Peters. There you go. You lose Marcus Peters. You bring in Christian Gonzalez. And boom. That defense is going to be something special. You get another ball hawk. I believe Christian Gonzalez possesses some of the same traits that we see in Marcus Peters. I think this is a great pick for the Ravens going to the Broncos. I really like the Broncos defense, actually. Let me look at their free agent situation.
Before I do anything, their offensive line is struggling. See, maybe this might be a position because they have weapons.
This might be a position where we reach for a lineman. And like I said, it's not really a reach when it's a team that needs a lineman. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to shore up that offensive line. We got a guy coming in, Osiris Torrance, a big guy on the interior, can block, exactly what they need.
And replace some of the guys who might not get re-signed. We see a tackle coming up on free agency, a right tackle, another tackle.
So, yeah, they have some guys coming up for free. And even if they're not coming up on free agency, this offensive line hasn't been good for Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson is getting older. We don't want to see him taking those same hits that he's been taking. So this is a good pick. Right here, this can honestly be your pick, who you would like to see in this situation. I think the Bengals defense has actually been playing good this season. But as we can see right here, 30th in sacks. So BJ Ojulari, a good guy off the edge, explosive, twitchy, fast guy. Not really going to be asked to predominantly put his hand in the dirt, but he's going to give you pass rush. He's going to come off the edge. And obviously, by the time he gets to NFL playing size, he'll be a bit bigger. We can see him line up on the defensive line. But anyway, either way you put it, he's going to add to your pass rush. He's going to be rushing for you. Going to the Dallas Cowboys. We really need linebacker, honestly, but there's not no linebackers, And with Tony Pollard coming up, actually, this is a match made in heaven. This is a match made in heaven. Tony Pollard is going to command a lot of money, and we know that Dallas likes that two running back system. And think about it. This is the perfect pick for Dallas because you get Bijan Robinson, one of the best players, although he's a running back. I'll talk about positional value. One of the best players in this draft. And when Zeke's contract expires, now you got Bijan. He can develop. He can start off in that two-back system, do the dual threat thing for a couple years, and then once Zeke is up, just take over. And this is a guy who could potentially, if he stays healthy, be a franchise running back. I think this is a match made in heaven for this team. I love this pick for them. On to the Kansas City Chiefs. And, you know, see, Patrick Mahomes, he's also put this defense in some situations as well. But I think it wouldn't hurt to add another corner. Let me look at their free agent tracker.
Just to make sure, Orlando Brown, he's going to get paid. McCole Harmon, well, Juju might not. McCole Harmon's going to get paid. So, they got some solid weapons. They got Valdez, Scantling.
I'm taking Antonio Johnson. I'm taking a versatile guy who can play all over the field. I'm putting him in that Chiefs defense. I like Willie Gay. I like Nick Bolton. I like those linebackers. I like Chris Jones, that defensive line. And I think adding Antonio Johnson just makes them so much harder to game plan against. Going to the Minnesota Vikings, corner. They need corner. They just need it. They ultimately do. And I believe it can be your pick of Clark Phillips or Eli Ricks, whoever you would like in this position. But I'm going to take Clark Phillips, solid DB out of Utah. Eli Ricks, he's a bigger guy, but like I said, it's really more just based upon who you would want. Buffalo Bills. See, this is an interesting one. I believe the Buffalo Bills are a solid team. And this one, see, these are looking like matches made in heaven. And we never see running backs, you know, taken this high. I believe they're solid in the secondary. They'll be solid coming out of next season. Their run game is bad. And Jahmyr Gibbs. See, these are why I take these running backs in the first round, because they're not just average running backs. They're guys who are weapons, who can be used in a variety of ways. And like I said, I love the defensive line. I like the linebacker core. I like a lot for this team. So I'm going with Jahmyr Gibbs right here. 31, we got the Philadelphia Eagles. And I don't see the Eagles being able to retain Bradbury. That's something I can speak to. Looking at their team, don't want to find yourself reaching for a guy here either. Looking at everything, I'm going with Eli Ricks. So just to get it again, going through the mock draft where everybody can see. Number 1, we got Bryce Young. Number 2, we got Will Anderson Jr. going to the Bears. Number 3 to the Seahawks, we got Jalen Carter. Number 4 to the Arizona Cardinals, we have Paris Johnson. Number 5 to the Detroit Lions, we have Kelly Ringo. Number 6 to the Indy Colts, we have CJ Stroud. Number 7 to the Atlanta Falcons, we have Miles Murphy. Number 8 to the Carolina Panthers, we have Will Levis. Number 9 to the Philadelphia Eagles, we have Brian Brzee. Number 10 to the Green Bay Packers, we have Trenton Simpson. Number 11 to the Oakland Raiders, we have Cam Smith. Number 12 to the Jacksonville Jaguars, we have Quentin Johnson. Number 13 to the Houston Texans, we have Tyree Wilson. Number 14 to the Pittsburgh Steelers, we have Peter Skoronski. Number 15 to the Seattle Seahawks, we have Noah Sewell. Number 16 to the New England Patriots, we have Jordan Addison. Number 17 to the New York Jets, we have Brian Branch. Number 18 to the Detroit Lions, we have Isaiah Foskey. Number 19 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we have Broderick Jones. Number 20 to the Tennessee Titans, we have Joey Porter. Number 21 to the Washington Commanders, we have Michael Mayer. Number 22 to the Los Angeles Chargers, we have Gervon Dexter. Number 23 to the New York Giants, we have Jackson Smith and Jigba. Number 24 to the Baltimore Ravens, we have Christian Gonzalez. Number 25 to the Denver Broncos, we have Osiris Torrance. Number 26 to the Cincinnati Bengals, we have B.J. Ojulari. Number 27 to the Dallas Cowboys, we have Bijan Robinson. Number 28 to the Kansas City Chiefs, we have Antonio Johnson. Number 29 to the Minnesota Vikings, we have Clark Phillips. Number 30 to the Buffalo Bills, we have Jahmyr Gibbs. Number 31 to the Philadelphia Eagles, we have Elias Ricks. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you're satisfied with your team's pick. Let me know if there's a guy who you want to spot out that I should go look at that maybe would be a better fit for your team. Thank you for watching.